Hello YouTube, and welcome back to another video. I'd like to begin this video with a quote from one of my greatest influences, Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. He once said, "There's this idea that hell is a bottomless pit, and that's because no matter how bad it is, some stupid son of a bitch like you can figure out a way to make things a lot worse." This quote really resonates with me because it speaks to the harsh realities of life. In this series, my goal is to help you relinquish your illusions and embrace the true red pill, the reality pill. Life, in its essence, is suffering. Living in the West, I've noticed that many of my peers are oblivious to the reasons behind their unhappiness and depression. They often feel as though they are alone in their struggles, burdened by first world problems that no one else could possibly understand. If you're self-aware and recognize that I'm speaking about you, it's time to open your fucking eyes to the simple fact that reality is pain. Even if you did have money, were sexually active, and had a circle of friends, you would still be suffering. Life can always get worse, and those who fail to realize this deserve to suffer. There are children who will go to sleep hungry, their little bony hands grasping their empty stomachs in agony from constant hunger pangs. There are men and women living on the streets with absolutely no hope of improving their situation. There are many terminally ill individuals spending their last hours alive, marinating in a cesspool of emotions evoked by fear of missing out, regret, and existential terror. There are teenagers who will die from an overdose, unnoticed because they had no close friends to spread the news. There are people who will die without ever experiencing a kiss or a hug. Everyone you love will die. The majority of people will leave this hell only to wake up in another. You may be wondering, how do I cope with this reality? How do I get through each day without succumbing to despair? Well, I'm not here to provide you with answers. I'm not a self-help guru or a philosopher. I'd never claim to be here to help you. You want answers? You'll have to find them on your own. But why, you may ask? Can't you show me how to cope with these truths? Surely there must be a way to find true happiness in this lifetime. Well, to those questions, I'll respond with one simple truth. Reality stinks. The following narratives recount events that were virtually unpredictable, culminating in individuals encountering tragic outcomes. So sit back and try to relax as I unfold these tales before you. But first, if you find these stories intriguing and wish to hear more, please consider subscribing to my channel and hitting the like button. Don't forget to click the bell icon to ensure that you don't miss any future uploads. Your engagement is greatly appreciated, and it helps me continue to produce high-quality content. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section below. Now with the intro out of the way, let's get into the video. Our first story takes place in the municipality of Capitolio, located southwest of the state of Minas Gerais in Brazil. Though their economy is based on agriculture with a focus on cattle raising for dairy production, in recent years, tourism has been growing due to the rise in popularity of the area's beautiful natural attractions. The top 5 attractions are Canyons de Furnas, Trilha do Sol, Cachoeira Lagoa Azul, Mirante dos Canyons, and Canyons Cascada Eco Park. Forgive my terrible pronunciation, I don't speak Portuguese. After looking at images online of these locations, it's easy to see why they are so sought after. Many of these attractions offer a wide variety of fun outdoor activities in the beautiful area. You can visit parks with waterfalls, swim in crystal clear pools, go hiking, and sightseeing. Now that you've got a bit of information about the area, it's time to get into the incident. Being in an area like this, I can only imagine how easy it would be to forget about your worries and just enjoy the time away from the rat race while you can. And I'm sure that's what a lot of people involved in the following incident were planning on doing. It was on January 8th, 2022, a crack in the canyon of the Furnas Lake that had been showing signs of impending collapse for 10 years finally did so. Cell phone videos taken by spectators show the moment a large chunk of the cliff collapses onto 3 tourist boats, killing 10 people and injuring 32 others. I think the most chilling part of the video is the moments before impact, where you can see the red boat notices what is about to happen and tries to desperately get away. I'm not sure if he was successful or not, but I'm almost 100% sure that if he did get away, it certainly wasn't unscathed. The other boats showed no signs of attempting to get away, presumably because they only noticed something was wrong right before the rock landed on them. The bodies of the 10 victims were taken to Paso City, where coroners worked to identify them, which proved to be difficult because of the quote, high energy impact of the rock on the boaters, end quote. Personally, I wish that there had been a more specific description of why it was so hard to identify the victims. It's difficult to imagine how a high energy impact like this could cause so much damage that it will be difficult to identify someone, if that makes sense. While researching for this video, I was only able to find the name of a 68-year-old man by the name of Julio Borges Antunes. The other 9 victims were successfully identified, to my knowledge, but their identities were not released to the public. The only evidence I could find that could point to the successful identification of the other 9 victims was the fact that several of the family members of some of the victims on that day are pursuing litigation against the municipality of Capitolio, seeking financial compensation for the financial troubles sustained by the loss of said family member. Now, you may be asking, how did something like this happen, and how could it have been prevented? Well, here's the thing. Multiple sources indicate that the weather had been pretty bad in the area in the past few days, to such an extent that locals in the area were flooded out of their homes. And like I mentioned before, the piece of rock that fell had been showing signs of degradation for 10 years at that time. The tourists and crew members were warned about the dangers, but did not act quickly enough to take preventative measures. As avoidable as the situation was, I believe that the relaxing atmosphere and the fact that nothing like this had ever happened before might have contributed to how the danger was perceived and how the mitigation efforts were handled. But then again, that's just my opinion. With the power of hindsight, it's very easy to claim that something like this was easily avoidable. But there were so many factors at play here that I would disagree with that take, and I am convinced that the incident happened by fate. I would like to send my condolences to the families affected by this tragedy. In our next story, we find ourselves at the Shanghai Wildlife Exhibit in China. This unique park offers not only traditionally caged animal enclosures, but also 2 safari-like areas where visitors can observe animals roaming freely while staying inside designated vehicles. These 2 areas are the Herbivore Animal Zone and the Beast of Prey Zone. The park provides 2 types of tour vehicles. One is a school bus-like tour bus, and the other is a cage-like vehicle painted with tiger stripes, allowing tourists to feed the wild animals from the safety of their enclosed vehicle. Personally, I've never been particularly fond of zoos. The odor often puts me off, but I do understand the appeal they hold for many. While researching for this video, I stumbled upon footage of the bus tour, which I'll be using as B-roll in this segment. This part of the video centers around a 26-year-old named Zhang Jinbing, who was a devoted zookeeper at the park, specifically responsible for the tigers. His mother later revealed to news outlets that her son had a deep passion for wild animals, which had inspired him to pursue a career in this field. She fondly recalled his stories about his workday, where he enthusiastically described the behaviors of the dangerous tigers he had become intimately familiar with, even knowing them all by name. It's evident that Zhang had a genuine love for his job. Aware of the inherent risks associated with such a profession, Zhang's grandfather would regularly sit on the balcony of his home, overlooking the animal park. He would patiently wait for Zhang's car to safely arrive home every afternoon at 6 o'clock. This daily ritual continued until that faithful day when Zhang didn't return. 3 hours after his expected arrival time, his worried mother couldn't wait any longer and drove to the park herself. Regrettably, her fears were confirmed upon seeing multiple police cars coming and going from the zoo's parking lot. She eventually met with the park manager, who delivered the devastating news that her son, Zhang Jinbing, had tragically passed away. Now you may be wondering how this tragic incident occurred. While Zhang was initially hired as a tiger keeper, the zoo required all their keepers to be versatile, willing to work in different sections of the park as needed. On the day of the incident, Zhang had been assigned as a tour guide for the Beast of Prey Safari Tour. During his shift, the Beast of Prey Zone was undergoing maintenance. Typically, the zoo's standard procedure required staff members like Zhang to monitor the area and guide the animals back into their dens, allowing maintenance workers to safely conduct their work. However, the considerable number of bears in the area made it nearly impossible to corral them into their dens. As a result, the park decided to proceed with maintenance during regular business hours, deviating from the usual safety protocols. It's important to note that zoo worker policy strictly prohibits employees from leaving their vehicles at any time while inside the beast of prey zone. During tours, guides are supposed to entice the bears to approach the tour buses, offering them small chunks of food to enable up-close interactions for visitors. However, due to the ongoing maintenance and the fear-inducing noise of the excavators, the bears refuse to approach the buses. To investigate this unusual behavior, possibly in an effort to resolve the issue, Zhang stepped out of his vehicle to confront the excavator operator. Surveillance footage obtained by Zhang's mother, which wasn't released to the public, shows Zhang's vehicle parked by the roadside with the excavator operating nearby. Suddenly, the excavator operator left his machine. It seems as though the operator either didn't hear him or was ignoring him, while Zhang attempted to engage in a conversation with him. The actual details of their interaction are unknown or unreleased to the public, but it lasted less than a minute. Once their brief exchange concluded, Zhang attempted to return to his vehicle. However, a bear appeared less than 20 feet away from him, and as you might know, bears, despite their massive build and weight, can run at speeds of approximately 30 to 35 miles per hour. To put this into perspective, Usain Bolt, the fastest human alive, ran 100 meters in less than 10 seconds with a top speed of only 27 miles per hour. Upon noticing the bear, Zhang picks up the pace towards his vehicle in a futile attempt to escape, but it was too late. Tourists on a bus watched in horror as the bear attacked him. Subsequently, other bears joined in, and cell phone footage captured the gruesome scene of Zhang being dragged by multiple bears to a nearby pond where he was torn apart. Zhang's colleagues made an effort to disperse the bears before he was taken away, but their attempts proved unsuccessful. Unlike the first incident we discussed, this one was far more preventable. Clearly, Zhang should have never exited his vehicle, but what's more concerning is that he was not equipped in any way to defend himself. Relying solely on the policy of never leaving the vehicle seems imprudent. At the very least, he should have had some bear mace. One might ponder what would have happened if another employee had faced a situation necessitating them to exit their vehicle in the beast of prey zone. Should they simply rely on hope and sprint for the nearest exit? No. I would argue that every worker assigned to areas populated by potentially dangerous predators should be armed with appropriate tools or equipment for self-defense. The value of a human life far outweighs that of a bear, and this is indisputable. To be blunt, the safety of park workers should be the top priority, and measures should be taken to ensure their well-being. It's worth mentioning that safety measures have reportedly been improved since this tragic event, and I'd like to open the floor to your thoughts. What do you think could have been done to prevent such a tragedy? How would you have acted in Zhang's situation? Please share your opinions on this matter in the comments. And that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching if you made it this far. I would like to take a moment to offer my sincerest apologies for the recent deviation of our established bi-weekly upload schedule. The reason behind this shift is my recent commitment to a full-time management position, which has necessitated a more substantial allocation of my time than I initially anticipated. However, I want to assure you that my dedication to producing content remains unwavering, and I maintain the ambition to provide you with new content twice a month. I am thrilled to report that our community has grown to an impressive 65 subscribers, a fact that fills me with genuine gratitude for your steadfast support. If you found this video to be informative or entertaining, I kindly ask that you consider expressing your appreciation by hitting the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing and activating the notification bell to ensure that you never miss an upload. The point of my videos, particularly within the Reality Stinks series, is to foster meaningful discourse. I wholeheartedly invite you to share your thoughts and opinions in the comments section below. We believe in the power of open and respectful dialogue. And for those of you who seek the sources and references employed in this video, you will find a comprehensive list in the video description. Transparency and the availability of knowledge are foundational principles in my content creation. In conclusion, I am delighted to announce that our next video is currently in production and will be a special Halloween feature. I encourage you to stay tuned for its release. I would like to express my deepest gratitudes for your time and attention. And with all that being said, thank you for watching and have a good night.